So this is go from dirty data to dozens of deals. Cool, so yeah, last night I embarrassed myself and was wearing that lovely Deadpool outfit. Thanks for those of you guys that supported that. But yeah, I was going by Data Pool. If you guys have seen the Deadpool movies, that was kind of fun. My real name in real life, when I'm not a superhero, is Chris Dreyer, and I am the co-founder of Revaluate, and I'm also the head janitor. So a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. You take care of everything that you've got to do, and we're going to talk about data a bit today. Specifically, we're going to talk about your databases. And I know that you guys, because you're in this session to listen to me, that you are the best and the greatest, and that everything in your business is perfect and there are no problems. And that's awesome, because also your database is probably mint condition also. I bet it is squeaky clean, right? So no judgment zone, right? It's perfect. There's no errors, no omissions. But the reality is it's probably filthy, right? Like dirty filthy, right? I bet you like it dirty. Because otherwise you'd have done something, right? You would have taken care of it by now, because it's a real hassle. Dealing with databases is cumbersome, it's a pain, and you're not even really sure what to do. And then you're like, is this good? Is this bad? What do I actually believe is real? There's all sorts of data sources out there for information. What do you trust, and what's real, and what's good? Because ultimately, you're trying to get referrals, you're trying to build business, and you need to have good data so that you can reach out to those people and connect with them. The session title, I wanted this to be, and Michael made me change it. And he's like, no, it's not appropriate. So he did help me coach up the title, which what we're trying to get to is a clean database so that you can actually be successful. So the bad thing about dirty data is it has lots of cost. If you pick up the phone and you call somebody and you have the wrong name associated with that number, you look like a goofball. If you're wasting time too, right? If you have salespeople making calls on your database, that's just wasted time. So basically, you can have performance issues if you have bad data. You get the theme that we're going with here? It's slightly, if you'd like to exit now because you thought this was going to be a family show, maybe now's your break. I'm sure there's nothing worse in here. But this is totally true, right? When you get something in the mail and it's for someone in your family that passed away, what's it make you feel like, right? And if you've been through a divorce and you get something for your spouse, instant rage. So if you are doing this and putting your brand on something that's going to somebody and it's incorrect because they've moved, that was the former person. You're in real estate, you're supposed to know that they moved. If you send something to their house, yeah, this is your area of expertise. Addresses is your area of expertise. Brad was talking about that yesterday in his session. And if you're sending mail to somebody who is deceased, that's a cringe moment. I'm not supposed to say cringe according to my 16-year-old, so I take that back. Doesn't matter how good your marketing campaign is. You can put all the thought, all the time in the world into it, but you can't overcome bad data in your database. It's the foundation of your business. See, foundation is a real estate thing. So bad data, these things happen when your databases get older. So the real question is, how dirty is it? And you're kind of thinking in the back of your mind. So tell me, how many contacts, shout out a couple numbers, how many contacts do you have in total in your database? Anyone? 650, 350, 1,200. Who wants to go with a big number? Right? So that's okay. We want to kind of prune out the crud and clean it up and reduce it. For a long time, it's been about building databases and making them bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's the wrong attitude. We need to prune those databases down. We need to shrink those databases to focus not just on your SOI. It's good to have a farm, but let's get the junk out of there and make sure that we're focused on the right people. So we did a case study. And don't tell Michael I'm using this slide. But we did a case study with this other coach. And we took a whole bunch of contacts and analyzed them. And so what I want to share with you today is the results of this case study that we did with this other coaching organization with his clients. Now, this case study was pretty representative of the United States. That doesn't look like the United States at all. It is on my screen, but yeah. So it's nationwide. Obviously, this would be your Florida area down here, your Midwest over here, right? So we're pretty much broadly covered. And here's the story. So we did a 12-month study from July to basically July, 8 unpaid volunteers, and I said, hey, give us your databases. We're going to analyze them. And it went from individual agent with a very small database, under 500, to a mega team with almost a quarter of a million contacts and everything in between. So we took those and analyzed them. We deduplicated the contacts. We looked for errors. We looked for omissions. And we looked for the transactions that happened, the transactions that they won and the transactions they lost. And that's what we're going to dive into here, is the findings from that and then how that can relate to you. All right. The big finding right here is that of 500,000 contacts, half were missing physical addresses. So if you think about your database, what percentage have physical addresses? And again, you are in real estate. Physical addresses are your inventory. If you have a store that sells shoes and you only have half of the boxes in the back with shoes in them, you've got a problem. So you need to have physical addresses in your databases to be able to do postcards, door knocking, pop buys, CMAs. It would be really helpful to have a physical address so that you could actually determine the property's value. Okay, so we also found from this data set 5,161 missed opportunities in 12-month period. So we knew who the agent was that gave us the database and the people on their team, and we could see in MLS records the transactions, and of this 500,000 contacts, they missed 5,000 transactions. That totaled $2.5 billion in volume and somewhere around $60, $75 million in sell-side GCI. I mean, I have a data company and we're doing okay, right? But that's a lot of money. I mean, that is a lot of money to me. So the conclusion is, obviously, you guys have already come to this conclusion. Hey, the database is bad. It needs to be cleaned up. It needs to rock and roll. I have a video here. I'm going to skip that. All right, so this quote is my favorite. This is what Tom said from stage the other day. If you wear leather at night and you enjoy a good beating, you're going to love Revaluate. So it is true. What we offer and what we're going to show you is, it's a bit of a punch in the face, a slap, a punch in the gut. It gets kind of rough. So I would encourage you to be open-minded to getting beat up a little bit, because that's what we're going to do. Any questions on the case study before I kind of continue on?
I have a question. Do you have any Toms?
super common, right? Yeah, so you've got like the farm that you bought from over here, and you've got like Zillow leads that you bought from over here, and you've got your sphere and the soccer team and the golf buddies and all that stuff. And it sometimes people have it. Who has it all in one nice, tidy CRM? Any hands? Right. Oh, now that's a good, there you go, that's fun. Yep. So that does get dicey because then you're trying to match up different data sets at the same time. So that's really tough. And what's the truth? So when you have multiple CRMs that you're working from, it's very difficult to justify one to the other. That's right. We can take all of your data sources, all of your databases, we can combine them together, deduplicate them, and then show you here is the one list of reality. Because the deduplication is where it gets kind of messy. We can talk about what that would look like later, but yeah, that's something that is in dire need for lots of people for sure. All right, so Revaluate is a 10-year-old company. I'm based in Golden, Colorado. Anybody else from Colorado? No? Cool, cool, all right. We started with the premise that we just wanted to take the database and identify who was most likely to move in the next 6 to 12 months so that you could pick up the phone and you could go grab coffee with them. Pretty basic premise. But this dirty data issue becomes a real problem for the algorithms because it gets confused. So if you put crap in the top of the funnel into the database, you get crap results out at the bottom. And so again, it's something that helps us out in our business to help you is to clean the data at the top. So we're focused on those two things: cleaning up the data, purifying the input, and then making a really good prediction on who is most likely to move in the next 6 to 12 months on the back end. So bad data ultimately kills sales. And what that case study kicked out in the end, the big number is that 5,000 transactions that I pointed out represented 93% of the transactions. So all of those agents' databases combined, from big to small, they were missing 93% of the opportunities in their own database. You don't need to buy more leads. You need to work the contacts in your database and have accurate information to do so, because the opportunity is there. Those of you that are math majors will say, oh, I'm only closing 7%. They are only closing 7% of the transactions in their database. So you think about the number of transactions you did in the last 12 months or last year, that is 7% of the total. So imagine doubling that. Now you're at a whopping, again, math majors, 14%. Tons of opportunities sitting in your database. You're never going to get to 100% of the transactions, right? There's always going to be that one jerk. But you can certainly do better. And I really believe that it's within your ability to go from 7 to 14% if your numbers mirror this case study. So this is what we'll offer, and at the end of the presentation, I'm going to give you a QR code and let you have a free database audit that essentially mirrors the results of the case study that we just talked about. So this is what our free database audit looks like. I'm going to attempt to zoom in here. Now, some of you college grads may have noticed that doesn't stand for fortune. So this is a bad grade, and that's good. Fierce. So this is common. Most of the people that go through our process in this audit get an F. So if you go through the process, just prepare yourself, you're gonna have an F. And I know that because we've done thousands of these. So that's the average. So this particular database is really large, but it illustrates the point. So 50,000 contacts in this database. This is how we came to the score, by the way, or the grade, is by going through this green box right here. So 50,000 total contacts, 31,000 incomplete contacts, without valid addresses, 27,000. So 27, more than 50% were missing physical addresses in this particular database. A bunch were missing, 12,000 were missing emails. So we grade based on completeness, right? And quality. The quality number right here is 5,000 suspicious. So what's a suspicious contact? Anyone got an idea? Fake? Yeah, like Bart Simpson at Gmail is not probably a real prospect, right? Profanity at Yahoo. You guys have all received that one. That is not a real prospect. Those are suspicious. We also look at everyone else in this room. If you're a real estate agent, you're suspicious. You should be in each other's databases, but segmented in a different pool, because you're not going to be selling a house to someone else in this room if they're in your market, right? So those are suspicious contacts. Having 5,000 suspicious contacts, 10% of this database, is just waste. If you do postcards, that's 10% waste. If you do phone calls, that's 10% waste. You get the idea. So this got an F. Now it gets worse. That's the slap in the face. Now we're just gonna, this isn't a sucker punch because I'm telling you it's coming. This is the beating. All right. So in this case, we had half of them had physical addresses, so we went to the MLS with the physical addresses and looked in the last 12 months for transactions. So I have the physical addresses right here, the listing status, the date that it listed, the price that it listed, and the listing agent. Yay! Hey, let's celebrate the wins, guys. Come on. All right? So we'll do that for you. With this free audit, we'll show you, and that's where Tom's like, this is, you know, if you really like whips and getting and leather, that is, it gets worse. I'm sorry. All right. Here we go. There's the number, 7% success. They are closing 7% of the transactions in their database. Yay, they won 33 transactions last year. That's a good number. They lost 458. That's math. Now let's take it one step further. This is the end of it. I won't get any worse than this. You can open your eyes after this one. This is only sell-side commission based on 2.3%. In our system, you can go in and you can edit the percentage to reflect yours if you'd like. $5 million in the last 12 months of sell-side GCI. It's not pretty. So I'll do that for free for you. I'll show you all how terrible your database is. Isn't it great? It's great to be in like a software sales gig where you punch people in the face first. It's pretty fun. Okay, so that's the free audit, and again, I'll show you that QR code in the end. I want to take a minute and show you what we can do after we have cleaned up the data, because I think that's important to growing your business. So the next part of the puzzle is actually doing something about that and repairing the data. So certainly removing the suspicious contacts we talked about. I want to deduplicate your contacts and make sure that there's only one of each person in your database. And again, we can combine multiple data sets to do that for you. I want to take the name and address that you provide me and go to the county records and see what the government says. And I'm going to say, all right, we know that Sarah lives on Maple Street, and we can confirm that. Or we know Sarah, but we don't know where she lives. Let's try and find out where she lives and get that address if we're missing it. Let's also, what's real common is we'll have like missing zip codes or states or incomplete address entry. So we can go and try to fill in the blanks and help you complete that data so that you've got actual mailing addresses to be able to direct mail people an invitation to an event, let's say. We can, we identify apartments. If that's their registered address with the government, we can confirm that that is the address and that's where they live, yes. Yep. So we'll flag those as apartments. We also want to flag goofy stuff like people have P.O. boxes or trusts and stuff like that. We can flag those and identify those as being separate pieces of the puzzle because you can market to those differently. First-time buyers, right? You want to try to get those guys. And then the next slide is I'm just going to talk about bad emails, and we'll flag those bad emails so that you know which bad emails, separate from the suspicious, which ones need to be removed. Okay, super boring, nerdy stuff. So give me like 90 seconds here, but don't tune out. If you know Betty and Betty works at Remax, and then Betty moves to Keller Williams, and you send Betty that email to that Remax address, what happens? It bounces. Is that a problem or not? Not really? No. If you send Betty one email to Remax, that's not a problem. If you have 100 Bettys, that's a problem. Google and Yahoo and the FCC have teamed up in a really fun party, and they're grading all of you on your sender score as an emailer. The reason that some of you have emails that go to spam quite a bit is because they have already deemed you to be not very good at sending emails. Every time you get a reply to an email, yay, that's a +1. And I'm making these numbers up, but just to illustrate the point. If someone forwards the email, that's a +1. Good job. Every time someone bounces, -1. Every time someone spam reports you, negative, negative, negative. You've got to remain par or above, or your ability to deliver those emails starts to drop and decrease and lower. And as time progresses, if you keep being a bad actor and they keep thinking that you're a bad email sender, they will send you to, and I made this up, email jail. Email jail means they literally will turn off your email account. That's probably not going to happen to most of you, but let's just play this out for a second. If Google deems you a spammer in email and puts you down here, guess what they're going to do to your organic search results on Google? Revaluate will go through and we'll flag, and there's multiple services that can do this. Unbounce is a really popular one. You can go have that done. They will go through also and flag it for valid, invalid, or risky. Hard bounces are the one we talked about with Betty at Remax. A soft bounce looks sort of similar to the email gods. They see it as a full email box, right? And it just bounces back because they can't accept anymore. They believe that that's also spam. So we recommend, we'll flag these, and then you can get rid of them. There's zero value to keeping one of those email addresses, zero. It can only hurt you. So this was a specific customer of ours, Ray Miller. She came to us, we validated 10% of her database was accurate when she came to us. We also invalidated 10% right away that was worthless. Another 5% was suspicious. So 15% got rid of. We trimmed her database by 15%, reducing it. That's a good move. Repaired, we duplicated some, we added states, we added zip codes, filled in the blank with addresses on the majority of them. That was a good case scenario. So that's repair stuff. Changing gears, what we do when we have that data at the bottom of that funnel is we try to make the prediction for who is most likely to move in the next 6 to 12 months. And there's a number of ways to do that. Certainly the old way to do that was how long have they lived in their house? And if it's greater than 7 years, then they're likely to move. No one has a calendar on their wall that says I've lived here 7 years and it's time to move. They also have really low interest rates right now, and so they're not wanting to move because they have these awesome interest rates. So the thing is that causes them to move is life events. Life events caused you to move, life events causes them to move. You can think of your last couple customers. Life events cause people to move. If you're on Facebook, you don't need us. Go on Facebook, you see life events happening. Those are people you want to bring in and reach out to, right? Baby announcement, yay, reach out to them. Engagement, yay, reach out to them. These are people that are likely to move. Life events cause people to move. We call them the data Ds: death, divorce, diapers, diamonds, diplomas, downsizing, discretionary income, the daily grind, and dumpsters. Dumpsters is my favorite. Talking to agents years ago, they're like, yeah, we used to drive around the neighborhoods in suburbs, look for dumpsters, because there's a high correlation between having a dumpster in your driveway and moving. Not all the time, but they're renovating, grandma died, they're throwing away a bunch of stuff. Dumpsters relate to a transaction. So you can drive around and look for dumpsters now. This is what causes people to move. We take that data, we put it into our algorithm, and then we score every night on a 0 to 100 scale the propensity to move. So this is in the dashboard from Revaluate. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Yep, so it's hard to see, I know. These are the scores that show that they are hot and likely to move. Those happen to be 97s. So of this 100,000 contact database, which is easy for math, 5,000 very likely movers. So 5% of the database we deem likely to move in the next 6 to 12 months based on our scoring. And we're looking at this gets a little creepy, so apologize. Yep, how we get it. So search, social, spend, and government data. So the search stuff, yeah, where their browsers are going, where they're going, and what they're looking at. Are they at Babies R Us, right? Spend, where their credit card, where they're actually spending the money. That data is available. So we can say, Johnny just bought an engagement ring. That's a high signal, right? Social cues, can't use Facebook anymore. They shut off the algorithms, but we pull from other places. And then government data to validate it. Hey, I'm not, is what it is, right? So that's our back end. That's the dashboard. I do want to share my buddy Dan Stewart. We're integrated with Happy Grasshopper. So his marketing ties into our scoring so that it's more direct, and he's got the nurturing campaigns going out for those who are most likely to move. I didn't show you this. So this is the very likely movers. These are showing some signal, but not enough to determine that they're likely to move. And then here's 85,000, the vast majority of them. We're saying, no, there's no signal there. Don't spend your time on that. That's just drip, keep your brand in front of them type stuff. So yeah, so we integrate with Dan next door. I highly recommend Dan and Happy Grasshopper. They're super awesome. We don't do any marketing, so that's why I endorse those guys. We also integrate with large CRMs such as Follow Up Boss and Lofty, Wise Agent, bunch of those things, where the score is embedded inside the back end via API and it updates every night. There's the free audit. So if you grab that, it's going to ask you a couple of questions. It's going to say, all right, how big is your database? What CRM do you use? The tricky question on there is what's your in market? We're looking for the county as an answer for that one. We're trying to determine what your primary county is or your secondary county is that you work in, because that allows us to mirror and check data sources better. Yep, exactly right. And if you have more than two, that's cool. We can do something there, but we're focused on the main two that you have there. 100%, yeah. It's revaluate.com/RMS is the URL if you want to do it on your laptop instead. And then that'll walk you through a process. You can actually do the database upload and stuff from there, or you can have us help you out. If you'd like us to help you out, you can actually email our team, info@revaluate.com. You can actually email your databases to them, and they'll take care of it if you're not not wanting to do API codes and spreadsheets scare you, that's fine. We can do it that way. So we do the repair stuff standalone if you want. And so we start at $200 for kind of working on the project. I mean, the audit is free, right? So that's the starting point. But $200 as a starting point. We'll merge and format up to 5 files. We'll deduplicate, flag those suspicious contacts. We'll verify with the county, and we're backed up right now. We're slammed on that, so it's not instant gratification, just to level set expectations. And we'll flag bad emails for removal. 50 cents per contact, starts at $200, so you can do the math in the back of your head and think about your data set. That's not super common for our customers to do just this. Most of the time, people bundle things together. And the bundle looks like this. So the different parts that we talked about today, so the repair work that we discussed, the report card. We didn't go into the report card a whole lot, but we do maps, heat maps. So we'll take your database and we'll show you a heat map of where the contacts in your database are. We'll also map out the wins and the losses on the map, and that's pretty painful. It's like seeing the sign in your friend's yard times 100. So the heat maps are kind of neat, and then reveal the identifying people who are likely to move. We'll bundle all that together. It's hard to read probably, but 1,000 contacts is $1,000 prepaid for the entire year. So we're going to score everybody every night. We'll provide that rolling transactional data every week. So then just linearly, if you have 2,000 contacts, $2,000, 3,000 contacts, $3,000. Yeah. So in the CRM, we don't delete anything because that gets really dangerous. But we'll flag it so that you can delete them. I'm not willing to take on that risk, right? But yes, we put them in a separate bucket so that you can flag them for removal and flag as agents or suspicious, and same with the others. We work with hashtags really well. Got it. So the repair work is a one-time project that gets us to that point. The transactional data updates weekly. So when you do the $1,000 contacts, you get 52 updates. And then the scoring is nightly, which is definitely overkill, but it's set up to score those contacts nightly. And it goes through the whole year. At the conclusion of 1 year, if you want to renew, that's cool. If you want to go month to month, that's cool too. It's up to you, like $80 a month, $75 a month. Mm-hmm.
If we don't continue, then do we lose?
Then I come to your house. So Facebook shut their algorithm down a few years back, so we can't ingest anything from Facebook. If you can, I don't remember right now if you can, someone else in the room probably knows, can export a list of email addresses. You used to be able to. Yeah. Yep. Right, so different parts of this gets nerdy again. So different parts of the puzzle operate on different pieces of data. So as you can imagine, MLS needs physical addresses to be able to track. So we need physicals in order to do that part. Scoring people's propensity to move works on email addresses, because that's what all of your accounts and all your prospects' accounts are tied to, is email addresses. That's where we can find those digital fingerprints, is by going from email addresses. So kind of separate worlds. Yeah, I want to save the 15%.
So what, I just want to make sure this is clear. So what you're going to do is, when you clean it up and we don't have phone numbers, you will find a phone number, but you will not put the phone number in there. That's for us to then know what gaps we are missing.
Right.
So that then we could go into my man Dan's strategy of going, this is my list. So to your question, where it would be, do we stay with you? No. Here's your database. It's cleaned up. It's back on you to now go through it and actually input it. You're not something that I give and you give me back and it's whole. You give, here it is. You give it back to me and say, you're missing all of these. And that's a perfect time to then call those people to get it before you upload it back into your database. Because I'm doing that with Brevity right now.
Yeah.
I took the database that I thought I had. This was less than a week ago. They sent it back to me like, hey, these are some questions. Do you want us to upload it? And it was a cluster.
Yep.
I didn't have phone numbers. And I said, hell no.
Yeah.
And so now it's on a spreadsheet. And
Yeah.
now I'm going to call, fill it out, and then actually input everybody individually now into by doing it.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. So you're spot on with 90% of that. So we used to, we don't anymore provide emails or phone numbers. Regulations have changed, and it becomes now high risk for us, high risk for you to fill in the blanks on databases if the consumer hasn't provided that and given you consent. Physical addresses and names, government records, different story. So we fill in the blanks on those where we can, not 100%. Where we can, we're going to fill in the blank. I believe it to be very high quality, the best in the industry, akin to going to your title company and asking them for a farm of databases of names and physicals. It's high quality data. I will flag those contacts in a spreadsheet and give it to you with different colors for what's going on here. And some of them are like, well, we think that Bill Smith is William Smith, but on the record with the state, it's William Smith, and we all know it's the same guy, right? But the actual things don't match. We'll flag that, and you go through and you go check. Yep, that's good.
You got to do work. There's work after.
You
don't know what work you got to do until.
We can take care of a big chunk of it for you. There is additional, as with anything, if you want to take it the next step, there's additional things to do.
Give us the bike. We got to ride it.
There you go.
If you have the name and the phone number, you can fill in the address. Both of them.
If they're in your county. Yep. That's why we need the county record, because we're going to that county that you tell us to check. So if they move to, if you're in Knoxville and they move to Virginia,
There's no easy button.
it's complicated. Yeah.
Do you do businesses?
Yes. Well, I mean, what do you mean actually?
So if I market business to business, not business to consumer,
Commercial properties type businesses, or we can talk later. That's a little bit more of an edge.
not own the building. That's what you're asking.
There's a little bit of an edge case there, so gray areas.
Well, and a lot
I'm
of
not-
times their websites aren't.
Yeah, that's the worst. Awesome. Cool. Additional questions? Otherwise, my name is Chris at revaluate.com if you want to reach out. I'd love to chat. And I'll stick around up here for additional questions. Thanks so much, guys. Can't find emails anymore.
Can I?
Oh,
Can
yes.
I find their emails
Yes.
very easily?
There's not a real great way to do it. I think that's high risk.
So I had a golf outing and people put down their first name and their phone number.
Yeah.
But they didn't put down their physical address and they didn't put down their email. Part of me was like, oh, okay. Well, I went ahead and put them in my database because having a phone number and a name is better than nothing.
Do you do events like Michael teaches?
Yes. So now
So now you can text them, hey, shoot me your email address. I want to send you an invitation. And you have your assistant or VA or whatever
Correct.
working for you.
Correct.
If you have their physical address, then you can send them a direct mail and do a QR code that captures that aspect as well.